Welcome to Manhattan and welcome to FS1 College Football presented by Dave & Buster's. And you mentioned the weather. It was nasty this morning, really 6, 7, 8 o'clock, lightning and rain, and it didn't clear up until probably about a half an hour ago. We've got to have a certain amount of time where the teams can get ready and where the lightning is clear from the area. Bruce Feldman down in the field. What's the latest, my friend?
Joe, both teams took the field around 10:45 Central Time, and we're expecting kickoff at around 11:45. The warm-up period was abbreviated to about 45 minutes. The teams waited out their delay. The players, I'm told, were basically just listening to their headphones, listening to music. On the TCU side, they had some positional meetings. And as one K-State staffer told me, he goes, I'm a little surprised Coach Snyder didn't use the extra time to watch a little more film, but I think we're going to be ready. They had a similar experience last year when they played Missouri State.
Okay, Bruce, and now we say welcome inside. Joe Davis and Sherlock Holmes getting you ready for this one. I think it looks good, to be honest.
I try to bring some style to our crew. I know back in the studio they keep things kind of simple.
Yeah, they do. Straightforward. This looks good, guys. You can't give him a hard time like that when he doesn't have a chance to speak up for himself. So a couple things at work here. First thing is everything's moved back a while. So how about that dynamic as a player when you're so down to the minute trying to get ready for a game, you've now got to adjust.
As a player, as a coach, I mean, you see what happens when you mess up your routine or that gets messed with a little bit. We saw it last night. 2 top 10 teams on the road on a short week. Changes up your routine throughout the course of the week. Both those teams ended up losing when you talk about Clemson and Washington State. Now here, once again, TCU, number 6 team in the country. Their routines changed up a little bit, some inclement weather. We'll see how they handle the weather conditions as the day goes on. I don't think this is the end of the rain.
Right, and if that's the case, if the rain comes back, and even if it doesn't, the grounds are going to be a little bit wet. How does that affect the way this thing shapes out?
Ball security. And both teams have done a pretty good job of taking care of the football so far this season. That's going to be the biggest key. Ball security, obviously, in the quarterback center exchanges, really in a lot of the zone read handoffs that they do, and special teams. That's going to come into play big time throughout the course of the game. And really for Alex Delton, who we believe will be starting at quarterback today, the backup quarterback for Kansas State, in his first start, that's going to be the pivotal point, is him taking care of the football and making sure they don't have any sort of mistakes.
Yeah, through with a month and a half for this regular season. Here are the Big 12 standings look, and I don't think anybody saw this coming. TCU and Texas through only 2 conference games, the only teams remaining at the top unbeaten. And of course Texas in the Red River game facing off with Oklahoma in just a bit. And TCU with his 5-0 start, it's been impressive, and you start looking at the whole body of work, things are setting up pretty nicely for the Horned Frogs.
A very impressive resume. A Power 5 win on the road versus Arkansas earlier this year for TCU, and then you've got 2 back-to-back games versus top 25 opponents, beating Oklahoma State, beating West Virginia last week. This team is playing the most complete football in all 3 phases of any team in the Big 12 right now.
As it did last year, their team is kind of mimicking what their quarterback's doing. They went 6-7 when Kenny Hill wasn't very good last year, but they're 5-0, and Kenny Hill's been much better.
Night and day from last year to this year for Kenny Hill. He's been much improved. Struggled a little bit last week in the passing game, though, and when they turned it on, it was his athletic ability that took over. He caught a touchdown pass with some nice yards after the catch, and he also ran in the go-ahead touchdown to help seal the game for TCU. So really, it's his versatility that's now become on display.
And stability at quarterback for the Horned Frogs, not the case right now for Kansas State. And for more on their situation under center, here's Bruce.
Joe, K-State starting quarterback Jesse Ertz will be sidelined today with a meniscus injury in his knee. So sophomore Alex Delton, he'll be running the K-State offense. Wildcats coaches told me he's probably the fastest quarterback they've had here since L. Roberson way back when. He may even be faster than Roberson was. One other detail to keep in mind, Bill Snyder never one to waste any time or any detail. In this whole long layoff, he ended up having the team study film and also had them do about a 15-minute walkthrough in the weight room before they came back out here.
The 11th meeting between Kansas State and TCU in a series tied at 5 apiece. TCU won the toss, deferred to the second half. Off we go from Manhattan. And the Wildcats will start from the 25-yard line. One of the most experienced offenses they've had under Bill Snyder, but today Brady breaking in a first-time starter at quarterback.
Only 11 passing attempts in his entire career. The biggest thing for Alex Delton today is not to try to do too much. Look at this TCU defense. They really live off of turnovers and converting those turnovers into points. So just do your job. Don't try to do too much in your first start of your college career.
Came on for Jesse Ertz at Texas last week in the third quarter. Led him to a couple of touchdown drives. Now makes his first career start. Redshirt sophomore from Hays, Kansas. They begin with a run to Alex Barnes, who's hit after a gain of 3, and it'll be second down and 7. Traven Howard, Ridwan Isahaku combining in the tackle for one of the top defenses in the Big 12. Kansas State looking for its first top 10 home win since 2006 when they took down 4th-ranked Texas. And TCU, who started the season unranked, trying to remain as the only unbeaten overall in the conference. On 2nd and 7, here's Dimble, the fullback, with a hole for a first down. Winston Dimble, a 2-time first-team all-conference player, runs for a gain of 10.
Only his 9th carry of the season so far. Offensive coordinator Dana Dimble doesn't usually dial up those runs for his son. Typically, he's the lead blocker. But that time, getting him early carry, getting him in the flow of the game. And what they'll utilize off of that is eventually a play-action pass to Dimble at some point in this game.
Look at the sun poking out here on the first drive. And a mistimed snap. And here comes Delton trying to get to the edge. He's chased down and angled out of bounds at the 40 by Howard. And a pickup of about 3. And Delton starting with Ertz out. He's been dealing with a knee injury and really has been dealing with injuries throughout his career.
A torn ACL 2 years ago, had a shoulder injury last year, ended up having surgery in the offseason, just dealt with injury after injury. You hope he has an opportunity at some point to come back. This team looks at him as one of their inspirational leaders and really captains of this team.
And Alex Delton, of course, excited to get the opportunity, but they're close friends. Hated that it came at the expense of Ertz's health. Well protected, throws incomplete out of the hands of Ty Summers. Tried to squeeze it in and got away with it, living to see 3rd down.
And the problem with that last play was his eyes began to wander. And when he looked back to try to find his check down and running back Alex Barnes, he didn't see Ty Summers at all, sitting there waiting for the football in the zone window.
Now 3rd down and 7 to go.
Summers, a guy that's played both linebacker and defensive end, mostly defensive end in the plan this week, although he's a linebacker for this 3rd down and 7. TCU bringing pressure and getting to Delton. Tipped around and incomplete. It's 4th down. Ridwan Isahaku from his safety spot, the man that drilled him to set up 4th down.
A young quarterback in his first start. What do? You're going to bring pressure and test him and see if he knows how to get rid of the football in time. Gary Patterson and the TCU offense saw a heavy dose of that last week from West Virginia. We felt like, let's throw some in ourselves.
It's a booming punt from Nick Walsh, sending back Avante Turpin to the 11. Turpin made one man miss, now steps out of a tackle and stumbles to the 19. And so Kenny Hill and this TCU offense come out. He's had a good year, but you're looking for an improvement in the one phase in particular.
It's really how he handles the pressure. Last week versus West Virginia, when they brought pressure, he was 3 of 9. Really struggled to hang in the pocket, find quick answers. And the one thing that stood out the most to me was him throwing off his back foot. Instead of setting his feet and getting his shoulders turned to his target, he would kind of throw as he was fading back, and that causes the ball to really lack any sort of speed on it, enough of umph really to get there. That's one of the biggest things. He's going to have to improve on that today, because Kansas State, they bring the same all-out blitz, all-out pressure.
And that's a defense for the Wildcats trying to bounce back from allowing those 40 points against Texas last week in the double overtime loss. First TCU play has Hill stepping into the pocket and throwing high for Sean Nixon, 2nd down.
Talked earlier about Kenny Hill's struggles a little bit in the passing game last week. Talking offensive coordinator Sonny Cumbie, one of the things he mentioned was he likes to kind of get him involved early in the game running the football. He feels like that actually gets him into a flow, into a rhythm a little bit easier and helps him in the passing game.
And the run game has been a big strength for the Horned Frogs. #1 in the Big 12, averaging 220 yards per game on the ground. They motion Hicks out. And Hill with back-to-back throws. This one complete. Desmond White, but a short gain with Trent taking. Draped all over him, 3rd down.
And this is the down where TCU's offense has really excelled this season. And you've seen that big jump for Kenny Hill. His accuracy and this team being able to convert even 3rd and long scenarios. And it's been in part because of his athletic ability to buy plays and run with the football, but also his wide receivers making plays on the outside. Check out number 9, John Diarse. He's been a target a number of times this season.
And he's lined up in man-to-man to the bottom of your screen. On 3rd down and 7. Hill looking in his direction and puts it right on the number for a 1st down. Diarse against DJ Reed, and they get 9 on 3rd and 7.
Talked about the struggles last week for Kenny Hill versus pressure. Well, when he did get pressure, when it was 3rd down, he looked John Diarse's way, and he was the one that really came up and made some big catches for Kenny Hill.
1st down from the 31. They get it in space to Ty Slanina. Fighting off a block to make a tackle on the edge was A.J. Parker at 2nd down. And that is where TCU thinks it has a distinct advantage on the outside using its speed.
You look at their team's speed as opposed to Kansas State, for example. Really the perimeter running game, those perimeter quick screens and bubbles and throws on the outside. That's where TCU has the advantage.
Finally, their first run play, and Hicks has nowhere to go. Interior of that Kansas State defense led by Will Geary, one of the top defensive linemen in the Big 12.
Will Geary, Trey Deshawn, both those guys are extremely stout at the point of attack. There's not going to be a whole lot of running room on the inside for TCU.
It's a big man right there.
Former All-State wrestler, knows how to use leverage.
Converted one, 3rd down and 7 already. Here's another.
See if they get number 25, Kavontae Turpin, in the mix at some point.
And the slot to the bottom of the screen. Hill looking in his direction. He throws the out, and he bounces off a tackle for a 1st down. Well, they're 2 for 2 on 3rd down, and so are you, calling out Diarse and then Turpin.
Well, you got A.J. Parker, who's a freshman. He's in for Moore, who's out with an injury. Jonathan Durham played a little bit of that nickelback position, but clearly they're going to pick on the youth.
Great field position for TCU, and looking to take advantage with a Hicks run and a 1st down crossing the 25.
Saw the inside zone read game earlier today so far. Nothing really there, but TCU sticks with it. They know that'll pay off later on in this game for them.
Back-to-back runs for Hicks, and he's got a gain of 7. Reggie Walker the tackle. I think Hicks is finally getting close to 100% as he's dealt with injuries throughout the fall.
They're most versatile back when you look at him, even out of the backfield. He really runs routes like a wide receiver, led the team in receptions last season.
Second and 3. Hicks again, left side this time, and it's 1st and goal for the Horned Frogs.
Number 21, Kyle Hicks.
This has typically been an area that Kansas State has been very good at forcing opponents to kick field goals instead of get touchdowns. That 4-point difference a lot of times can be the difference in winning and losing games. Right now, though, TCU is on a roll running the football. At some point, if they do throw, though, look at the bigger body wide receivers on the outside. John Diarse, number 9, mentioned him earlier. Number 15, Jalen Austin.
Heavy dose of Hicks on this drive. He's tackled here by Kyle Ball. And it's 2nd down and goal.
Offensive coordinator Sonny Cumbie's not afraid just to stick with something. Flip it, run it the other way, get back up there, run it quick. And then once you get down this close around the goal line, this is where Kenny Hill comes into play. Some of those design quarterback runs. As we see their tight end, number 81, Cole Hunt, comes in.
4 plays on this drive, all runs for Hicks. He's got it again and dragged down. by Kendall Adams. 3rd down and goal.
That's a touchdown saving tackle by Kendall Adams, and he did it the hard way. He actually came from the backside and ran down Hicks. This is where TCU likes to get in that wildcat package. Bring in their big running back, number 33, Shewo Olanalua. A bunch of other bigger bodies to help get the football in the end zone with a lot of size and mass.
They've tried this 6 times in the red zone this year and produced 4 touchdowns out of it. Hill scans the field and it opens up for him to take off for the touchdown. Kenny Hill runs it in from 7 yards, and the Horned Frogs strike first.
We talked about his versatility and his ability to hurt you in a bunch of different ways. Watch as Kenny Hill drops back. He doesn't see anything downfield initially, but he feels green grass open, and he's got the speed and the vision to find it and get in the end zone for 6. Even with the penalty, TCU able to overcome and still get a touchdown.
They do it all on the ground on that drive. 6 plays, 36 yards. Jonathan Song adds the extra point, and this TCU squad trying to move to 4-0 against teams that had lost to a year ago. Off to a good start in Manhattan. Number 1 rush offense in the Big 12, and it was all on the ground, even though that touchdown was a called pass. Kenny Hill takes off and has TCU in front 7-0. Taking advantage of the great field position after the short punt from Kansas State. And an early lead for the number 6 team in the country. Pringle goes back to return this kickoff. Cole Bunce sends it away for the Horned Frogs. He's got a couple of touchbacks today and as many tries. K-State starting this drive from the 25-yard line. First-time starter Alex Delton, 0 for 3 so far. Run the option. And this play is blown up. He loses 5. Several white shirts surrounding him. Markel Simmons, the first one to get there. Delton has that one knocked down as he lets it go by Ennis Gaines, and it has not been a pretty start for this Kansas State offense.
Well, it's hard to get into a rhythm as a quarterback when it's run, run, pass, run, run, pass. Now that time they had a little run pass option. You could see Delton trying to keep his eyes downfield, was trying to work the ball to Zuber, but number 6, Ennis Gaines, wisely gets his hands up, knocks the football down. We'll see Ennis Gaines and Markel Simmons, who you called a couple plays ago, see them in the game a bit more. They're bigger safeties, and Gary Patterson talked about needing those bigger physical safeties in versus this Kansas State team.
Empty it out on 3rd down and 15. Delton tucks it and gets drilled for a loss by Blacklock. That's a 3-and-out for Kansas State as Blacklock comes up with a sack, and the punt team quickly back out there.
This delay did not affect this TCU team whatsoever. I mean, they are firing off the football. One of the biggest concerns for TCU was the quarterback draw play by Kansas State, but no one was sleeping on it that time.
And on Nick Walsh. Had just a 22-yarder the last time. There's a flag down as he sends this one to Turpin. Horned Frogs start this drive from the 42. And in the game for the first time, the running back is Darius Anderson taking the fake. A deep ball. It is caught by Rager. First down to the 25. The true freshman leading the team in receiving, they think has a special future.
Oh, and Rager's just going to run a post route, and you can see they run an inside in route. That really grabs Kendall Adams, the safety, and allows for all that room in the middle of the field.
Now Anderson bouncing to the outside. On his first carry, he goes for 3 or 4 into the arms of Kendall Adams.
Darius Anderson, the other running back to this tandem in the backfield that's oh so difficult to bring down, blessed with size, speed, and ability.
Hill scanning the field. He'll dump it down, and it's knocked down. Tanner Wood getting his hand on it to set up 3rd and 7.
Tanner Wood, a former running back, recognizes he can't get to the quarterback, so he mirrors him and gets his hands up, just as Bill Snyder and the rest of the coaching staff at Kansas State are coaching him to do. Once again, TCU 3rd down. They've been 3 for 4 today. A pretty good, darn good job being able to convert.
And it's been 3rd and long. They've still been able to put up those numbers. Number 1 3rd down offense in the country at it again here.
I would be surprised if Kansas State didn't try to pressure Kenny Hill and see if he can handle it.
Something he didn't do well against West Virginia. Off his back foot, heaves one, incomplete. Out in the vicinity of Turpin, but they did bring pressure and force the errant throw. 4th down.
Well, this is the all-out blitz that I'm talking about, and what that forces quarterbacks to have to do is realize they're going to get hit. So you're going to see number 3, Elijah Sullivan. He's a free runner, and Hill has to realize that. He's got to set his feet, deliver an accurate football, and he may get hit. That's part of the game of playing football, but at least give his wide receiver an opportunity. That ball was way off.
Jonathan Song, perfect so far this season. And he stays that way with a season-long 39-yarder. Back-to-back scoring drives for TCU. They lead at 10-0 back in 30 seconds. All Horned Frogs so far. They're outgaining Kansas State 117-12. They settle for the field goal there and lead at 10-0 with 1:43 left in the first. And Bunts, who's buried a couple out of the back of the end zone with that wind you're talking about to his back. Hit this one quite as well. It hits off DJ Reed, who's bringing it out. And Reed gets drilled at the 12. In the meantime, it's Delton who's trying to get this offense going. 7 of their 11 plays have gone for 0 or negative yards. Play action on 1st down, and he hits a crossing Schoen. You talked about having a big game at Texas. The walk-on had 128 yards and 2 touchdowns in that loss.
A little misdirection, boot action, and Schoen beats Gladney all the way across the field. Schoen's speed has been something that has been talked about a little bit in the media. People saying it's not that fast. Look, you put him on film, I don't see many people catching him. He's got enough speed to get the job done. I know he's a walk-on, but people are kind of underestimating his ability to make big plays.
All TCU through 15 minutes. The Horned Frogs trying to move to 6-0. Kansas State will try and get the offense in gear. Looking for their first top 10 home win since 2006. It's 10-0 Horned Frogs through with a quarter. And Gary Patterson's defense is holding this Kansas State rushing offense to just 12 yards through with a quarter. That is newsworthy. They average more than 200 per game. Here's Delton on a 1st down run. Gets cut down after a gain of 3 by Montrell Wilson. This is the first play or the first drive that Kansas State has had in TCU's territory. Alex Delton, first career start. For a guy who has plenty of time with his first group, but a lot of it came in the spring when Jesse Ertz was coming off shoulder surgery, and Delton was the #1 quarterback for the entire spring, including the spring game. And into the lineup last week with the injury to Ertz at Texas. Starting this one on 2nd and 7. Looking wide side, well protected, zips a strike, and Pringle will take this one inside the 10. 1st down and goal on a gain of 35.
You see the play action pass. It helps create a window in the back end of the TCU defense. Look at the zip on this football. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. On time, on the money, allows Pringle to catch and run with the football for the big game. This is exactly what the Kansas State offense has needed this season. A playmaker like Pringle on the outside connecting. Now can they convert it into points?
On 1st and goal, power play for Delton. And he's stripped off on a short gain. You know, he has a reputation of being a really good runner, but he can spin it.
He's got an extremely strong arm. Just watching him warm up and on tape, you can see the ball jump off of his hand. Still working on the accuracy portion of it, but that takes time as you get more familiar with who you're throwing to and the defenses you're playing against, going up against. Imagine down here, they'll continue to keep running the football until TCU puts an additional defender in the box to stop him.
So makes it 2nd and goal from the 10. Delton fumbles the snap. It's picked up by Dibble, who loses a yard.
And that's the second time we've seen Alex Delton mishandle a shotgun snap. I mean, maybe it's coming back a little too fast for him, but that was spot on. And you talk about all the things that are on your plate as a quarterback. You could see at the very beginning his eyes kind of started to wander upwards to look at the defense before securing the football.
It's been a rainy, stormy day, but at this point the sun is out. They're obviously playing on turf, drying any moisture between plays.
They're showing. That's who they usually like to work to if he's in the slot.
On third down, Delton zips one. Pringle, but a flag down. It's a touchdown, but we'll see what the flag is.
You're going to see a lot of separation there, and there's a reason for that. Byron Pringle kind of pushed off.
Pass interference, offense, number 9. That'll be a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. We'll replay third down.
Let's try this out. Here's number 9, Byron Pringle. And as he runs up, you're going to see him push off of Tejada. And here's the issue. They weren't really bracketing him. It wasn't too much of a push off, but enough, obviously, to draw the flag. Be a little bit of acting on the part of Tejada.
A tough break for Pringle. Second penalty on him since they moved the ball inside the 10. And it's 3rd and goal from the 26-yard line. Not the kinds of things you expect from a Bill Snyder coach team, but it's been a problem pretty consistently this year. The play clock winds down. They barely get it off, and against pressure, Delton gets stripped, and TCU's got it. Wound up coming loose again, but they're on it at the 38-yard line. What a disaster for Kansas State after that drive moved inside the 10. Matt Boson wound up ripping it out of there, and Montrell Wilson recovered it.
We talked about this defensive front for TCU and the penetration they're getting. They were all over this. You'll see number 9 getting to the quarterback, knocking the ball out of Alex Delton's hand. Then it was kind of a scrum for the football, and that oblong-shaped ball just kind of bounces around. No one could get a hand on it until the end, but clearly Kansas State trying to take a shot downfield. Probably would have been a long field goal for McCrane. Now obviously a turnover. You just can't afford to do that versus an offense that's really done as well as TCU has this year. So balanced, and they're the best in the Big 12 at taking turnovers and converting them into points.
Kansas State elects to drop into coverage. That is caught, and White's got a first down inside the 35. 40-yard completion to Desmond White.
Well, they keep working on the freshman A.J. Parker right here. Here's the matchup. And he's got one-on-one coverage. Once he turns around, A.J. Parker with that stick, that's what creates the separation.
That one's almost intercepted. He wanted White again, and DJ Reed wound up having a chance at it.
DJ Reed's one of the better cornerbacks you're going to find in the Big 12 Conference. He does a really good job of pattern matching and watching the eyes of the quarterback. And anytime there's a timing route, meaning the quarterback's getting it out typically before the wide receiver is out of his break, he's looking to jump those and turn them into turnovers.
Newcomer of the year in the Big 12 a year ago. Transferring over from the junior college ranks, off to a good start this year. 2nd and 10 for the Horned Frogs. Hicks swings out. Here comes Kyle Hicks. He's got a first down. Inside the 10, it's first down and goal for TCU.
If you go back over the last 2 weeks, that's where Kansas State has struggled defensively. It's been the perimeter quick passes, whether it's a running back to a slot wide receiver. Some of the quarterback runs have gotten them. I mean, Sam Elminger had about 400 and some yards of total offense last week.
4 receivers into the wide side. They run Hill in the other direction, gets swallowed up. Both Reed and Geary were there to make it 2nd down. And Hill's helmet comes off without the result of a penalty, so he's got to come out for a play.
So now Sean Robinson, the true freshman out of DeSoto, Texas, gets an opportunity.
And they'll run him into the teeth of the defense. 3rd down.
How about that? True freshman. One of the few snaps he's had this season. Right away to get him into the mix as Kenny Hill comes back into the game.
Already the 8th third down TCU has faced today. Their lone touchdown came on a third down scramble from Hill. They run it with Hicks for a short gain. What do you think?
It looks like Kenny Hill might have gotten fooled, because they had the same exact alignment before the timeout. That couldn't have been what Sonny Cumbie, their offensive coordinator at TCU, wanted to run, because you don't have the numbers in the box. Big stop for Kansas State in forcing a field goal here after the fumble by Delton.
Song hit a career-high 39-yarder his first time. This one a chip shot from 22. And Song has made all 6 this season. So TCU extends the lead to 13-0 in the closing minutes of this first half in Manhattan. DJ Reed back to return this kickoff. 11th time these programs have met up. The series tied at 5 all time. Pringle's got his hands on it from the 6. Byron Pringle out to the 29. On the 29-yard line. Pressure coming on first down. Delton gets rid of it. Valentine's got a gain of 1.
Just good defense. I mean, there's nothing else to say there. Kansas State tried to run a little boot action, but TCU had a guy for each eligible wide receiver and even one for Delton too, trying to keep the football. I'm talking about the Big 12 though, it's funny they bring back the conference championship game with as much parity that's within the conference. It could still end up being an issue as far as who could potentially end up playing for that Big 12 championship.
Yeah. Here comes Silman. Stuck the shoulder down and got a few. Third down. Justin Silman last year against TCU ran for a career-high 133 yards. And Kansas State as a team had its way on the ground against TCU. More than 300 yards. But today, 14 on 13 tries.
More experience up front, more depth. These guys are playing at a much higher level for TCU this season. Alex Delton so far 2 for 3 in the second quarter. Let's see if we can find a conversion here. Remember, Schoen's been the guy they like to try to work to on third down, at least in the past couple weeks.
Got 10 men standing. They bring 6 of them. That's Schoen, but it's through his hands, and it's 4th down. Coverage from Nico Small, but he had a shot there.
Look at the zip on that football. I mean, Alex Delton's got an extremely strong arm. Some of the wide receivers are going to have to deal with. I mean, it's a little high, but right through the hands of Schoen, who's pretty sure-handed for the most part.
That's a ball that, at this point, you expect him to catch. Another good punt from Walsh. Turpin catches on the move. He lost it, but back on top of it. Drive starts from the 22-yard line in the closing minutes of this first half. And Darius Anderson makes a cut in the hole and gets a gain of 4 before the ball comes out, and Kansas State's got it. Perhaps the spark that they're looking for. DJ Reed with the recovery.
And it's exactly what you teach defenders to do. First man tries to hold up the running back, and next man in, or next 2 or 3, try to strip the football out. That time it was Reggie Walker. The biggest key will be, did he lose possession of the football before his hip touched the ground?
We'll see if the Wildcats can take advantage. They had it first down and goal a few minutes ago and couldn't score. From the 24, it's a Delton run on first down. Traven Howard, who's the leading tackler for these Horned Frogs for a 3rd consecutive season, has him here.
They had that quarterback counter figured out the entire way. Counter's just went to the weak side of the offensive formation as opposed to power, which is to the strong side. And you'll see Kansas State continue to run that play. They're very effective with it. They're not going to stray away from their game plan. But eventually you're going to have to start getting more yards in the passing game, taking some shots towards the end zone.
Delton again, right side this time. Matt Boson flipped him down. It's another short gain, and it's 3rd down and 6 or 7 for the Wildcats.
You saw Delton hesitate at the beginning of that play. Why? Because Winston Demmel, their fullback, was leading for him, but then he releases downfield. Look for them to try to target him on a kind of design quarterback run with Demmel leaking out through the middle of the defense.
Delton and the Cats trying to do something nobody's been able to do against TCU this year, and that is score a touchdown in the 2nd quarter.
Look at the space that Schoen has up top. A lot of green grass, if you will, I guess field turf.
I will. 3rd down, a deep drop. Delton flushed, able to stay on his feet. Now he throws incomplete. Montrell Wilson was right on him, making him sure that could turn it upfield, and it's 4th and 7.
TCU has someone waiting for Alex Delton once he gets outside the pocket. They know how dangerous he is running the football, so he's going to have to deliver from the pocket. As you can see, Ross Blacklock getting a shot in on him, and there's Montrell Wilson coming up. Try to force him to kick a field goal.
Which they'll do with Matthew McCrane. 38 yards. Two-time all-conference performer. Straight away, bangs it through and has Kansas State on the board. Able to take advantage of the TCU turnover. And in this day and age of points and yards and scoring, about 250 total yards of offense between these teams in the first half. And Bill Snyder's team, for the first time since the opener last year, held to 3 or fewer in the first half. Welcome back to FS1 College Football, presented by Dave & Buster's. On to the 2nd half here in Manhattan, and here are your first half stats from Dave & Buster's. Really dominant performance from that TCU defense, holding Kansas State, which averages more than 200 yards per game on the ground, to just 11 over the first 30 minutes of this game. And we say welcome inside Joe Davis and Brady Quinn, and we'll talk about that TCU defense in a moment. But first, the thing that the offense has been known for this season has been 3rd down, and they were pretty good in that first half in that regard. Yeah, early on in the game, we saw them converting at a high rate, in particular leading to a touchdown for Kenny Hill. And then defensively, we talked about it, really being good against Kansas State up front, getting penetration, negative runs, and pressure on quarterback Alex Delton. And TCU won the toss and deferred to the 2nd half, so they've got it to begin half number 2. And they'll start at the 25-yard line. Kenny Hill and the offense out there to start the 2nd half. TCU 5-0, ranked number 6 in the country. Beginning the 2nd half with a throw to the sideline for Jalen Austin, and he's got a 1st down as we go down to Bruce Feldman.
Joe, I asked Gary Patterson how after last year giving up over 300 yards of rushing, how they really were able to bottle this team down into 15 yards in the first half. I said, what's the difference? He goes, we got a lot better players. That's what it is.
Here's Hicks sticking the shoulder down on 1st down and running for a gain of 8. Will be 2nd down and 2. You can see TCU picking up the tempo, playing much faster than they were in the first half. Right back to Hicks. This time he's hit in the backfield and stopped at the line of scrimmage. And they go that fast very quickly. It becomes 3rd down. Kenny Hill coming off the field. No, this is typically Wildcats. Sean Robinson's coming on. So this happened earlier in the game because Kenny Hill's helmet came off. Not exactly sure what the game plan is, besides maybe some design runs for Sean Robinson. A little bit bigger of a running threat when you look at his size. They bring Rager in motion, and Robinson tries to take it out the back door, makes one man miss, and uses that big body to get a 1st down, running through Denzel Goolsby. Well, this is what you can't have if you're Kansas State. See TCU all of a sudden, a little bit confusion as far as who's coming in, who's not. They're missing a tackle right now. There should be a player right here. Robinson's missing his shoe. Now split out to the right. They've got Jalen Rager ready to take the snap. There's Garrett Altman coming now to play right guard. And Pryor moves out to right tackle. Jeez. Here goes Rager, left side. And he's got a gain of 2. All that for that. Look, I mean, there's
some logic to it, right? You force your opponents after Kansas State to have to deal with it. Kansas State has to make the adjustments on the sidelines for all of a sudden different people playing quarterback. And when you run an up-tempo offense, that's the hardest part. Just getting lined up and then identifying who's in the backfield, what's the offense trying to do.
And I wonder if they were actually ready to bring Hill back in or if they were just forced to do that with Robinson's shoe off. On a slant, Ty Slanina slips his way for a first down. He's been slowed by injuries the last couple of years, but when he was healthy as a sophomore, was a big part of this offense.
He's fearless. Love to throw to him across the middle. He's not afraid to take the big hit.
In the hands of Turpin. And he takes it to the 18-yard line where A.J. Parker stops him. Devontae Turpin. They thought he had a chance to have a big day. Guy that was an All-American as a freshman 2 years ago, largely because of what he did in the return game. Banged up last year. Missed 5 games because of injury. Healthy again, and not utilized him nearly as much as they'd like over the first few weeks. On 2nd and 5. Looking one-on-one. The slant for Diaz. Diaz fighting his way to the 1, and it's first down and goal for the Horned Frogs.
If you want to wonder why they put the strength of the formation into the boundary of the field, it's because you have all that space now to isolate John Diaz. Able to find windows to throw to him in the passing game.
11th play of this first drive of the second half. And they come straight downhill with Hicks, who tried to leap his way in, but before he could get off of the ground, got contacted by Tanking, and it's second down. There's a little malfunction in the stadium audio there. It sounded like they played Thunder.
Watch number 60, Will Gary. He gets a great jump on the football and doesn't allow Schlotman to get any movement off the football. That allows Kirby and Tanking and everyone else to be able to rally to the football for the stop.
Go to the Wildcat here on 2nd and goal with Alana Lua back ready to take the snap. Shewo Olanalua. He's not going to get there. 3rd down. Reggie Walker the tackle. Kansas State trying to bow up. Keep this a 2-score game.
I understand you've got Olanalua who's got a lot of size and physicality to him. It's going to be hard to stop, but Kenny Hill's athletic. I don't see a point in not allowing him to have the football and potentially make him part of the running game as well when you get down to this portion of the field.
And Hill's back in there.
Let's try it again.
Yeah, he's outside again. Olanalua ready to take the snap. This time he bullies his way in for the touchdown. So it works on the 2nd try. Shewo Olanalua, for the 5th time this season, is in for a touchdown.
And all 5 times have come out of this Wildcat formation. Kansas State stopped it twice earlier so far today. This is the first time it's really been effective. And you can see they kind of wrapped to the weak side, a little bit of a misdirection, and that was just enough to allow Olanalua to find the end zone.
Extra point from Song. There goes 75 yards and 13 plays on the first drive of the second half, and they've got their largest lead of the day before Kansas State touches it for the first time since the break.
That last drive for TCU, 4 different players playing quarterback. Tough to defend.
E.J. Reed accelerates after waiting for the blocks to develop, and he takes it to the 30-yard line. Alex Delton, 4 of 14 in his first career start today. Really tall task facing the top defense in the conference. Start with a run play, and Delton is free. Alex Delton showing off some of that speed and cutting it against the grain to the 35. 36 yards and a first down to open the second half.
This is what you call quarterback power. Watch Delton. Once Beachum pulls around, see how he creates that window for him. Then Delton's got the ability, that dynamic speed, a little bit more so than Ertz, where he can really hit the big plays in the running game. because of his athleticism.
Sophomore from Hayes, Kansas, was a track star in high school. Biggest play of the day on the ground for the Wildcats.
The Kansas State offense has been waiting for. They averaged 2.4 yards per carry until that last play. Now they're averaging 3.5.
Back to the ground here. Barnes never could get going. Check it with Bruce.
Joe, Alex Delton is a tough kid. This is a kid who worked 3 jobs when he was a freshman in high school in the summer. Just a grinder, wasn't one of these private quarterback coach kind of guys. His dad preached to him, you play like Johnny Manziel on the field, but behave like Russell Wilson off it. His dad's an old Marine. He said, one thing I can be sure of today, he will not be intimidated.
Here it's off Bruce in front of the 2nd and 10.
Amplify. My dad's a Marine as well. And obviously great advice.
Delton looking left, double clutches into double coverage and incomplete. Wanted Zuber. Nico Small had a better shot at it. And it's 3rd down and 10.
These are just some of the mistakes that you see a young, inexperienced quarterback make. He's got one-on-one coverage, but you see Small working all the way from the backside, reading the eyes of Delton, really with the better opportunity of making a play on that football. Just out of the hands, which sets up for a 3rd and long.
K-State today 0 for 8 on 3rd down.
Doesn't help when you're in 3rd and 10 scenarios. The play clock's running down.
They just barely get it off, and it's knocked down at the line of scrimmage by a blitzing Ennis Gaines. 4th down.
That's the 2nd time he's done that today. I've seen a number of players for TCU not be able to get to Delton before the ball gets out of his hands, but they've been able to put their hands up and knock down the football. That's one of the most frustrating things to deal with. You've got a good play set up. You're getting the ball out of your hand quick to beat the pressure. There's a defender who gets in the way and knocks it down. Now McCrane with a 50-yard field goal attempt. 51, excuse me.
He's got that kind of range. Hit from 54. Career high last week. 51-yarder that is perfect. Matthew McCrane has accounted for all the scoring in this game for Kansas State. The Cats back to within 2 scores. This is the Call Hall Dairy Bar. The only question is why we've not had any.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. That's where I spent the delay. Yeah, I went to the Call Hall, man. Got some of that, some varsity donuts.
I was going to say that's where I went. The delay.
I must have just missed you.
Did you have Purple Pride?
No, I did not.
That's their signature flavor there. They have 40 flavors of ice cream at Call Hall. And I didn't get a single one of them. That is a touchback. Gary Patterson's squad will start at the 25-yard line. Now Hicks. It's been so much more efficient this year. Top 10 in the country, completing around 70% of his passes. Alanalua has a 1st down across the 35.
TCU clearly wanting to give their defense some rest, taking much more time off the clock, not playing as fast of a tempo as they were a few series before.
Closing seconds of this 3rd quarter. 1st down 15, and Hill will look to throw. Wide side, shows off the arm strength, hitting Rager for a gain of 12.
Rager's really going to develop into something for TCU. Talked to the coaching staff. So we don't really have a guy right now that's like Josh Dotson, the 1st-round pick that went to the Washington Redskins. But Jalen Rager could be that guy. They manufacture ways to get him the football. He's got the size and athleticism.
Chose TCU over some big-time offers. Alabama, Oklahoma, you name it, could have gone to. Chose to come to TCU, and his Horned Frogs are a quarter away from moving to 6-0. Manhattan, Kansas. TCU in front of Kansas State 20-6. On to the 4th quarter. Kenny Hill has his team on the verge of a 6-0 start in a season where they were unranked to begin. Screen the other way. Here's Jalen Rager, knocked out of his hands but out of bounds. Trent Tanking, the man that jarred it loose. Both guys a little bit slow getting up. Looks like they're both fine. It's third down. Another pass play.
And it wasn't just a lightning delay. There was a good amount of rain that happened. It's going to be wet on that field. I wouldn't be surprised if the ball's not a little bit slick.
Hill in a collapsing pocket delivers a strike to Turpin, who makes a move into the open field. Turpin lost the ball, but he's marked down at the 26 on a gain of 37.
Just talked about it a moment ago. Kansas State brings pressure. Kenny Hill stands in there strong in the pocket, delivers a strike. Turpin does the rest. And if you recall earlier in the game, maybe an hour and a half ago, Turpin dropped that big play across the middle.
That was at least that long ago. Short gain for Hill on first down. These are the longest delays in each program's history. TCU and Texas a couple of years back had an over 3-hour delay. By the way, TCU Texas this year is starting to look like a pretty big deal. Texas right now leads Oklahoma late in that game. On 2nd and 10, against pressure, they hit the crosser. It's Turpin. Big tackle from Duke Shelley, or else Turpin is at least inside the 10.
Once again, Kansas State elected to bring an all-out blitz. So there's a free runner. It's Trent Tanking, but Kenny Hill really getting into a rhythm, starting to kind of find himself feeling comfort even under duress. When you operate this efficiently, you can go ahead and throw the football. You don't have to worry about the clock necessarily stopping. Once again, you're going to see Kansas State bring pressure off of Kenny Hill's left side.
Running that direction on a shovel pass. It's Hicks. And he's inside the 10, first and goal. Nice design from Sonny Cumbie in this TCU offense.
This is a perfect play call for this. You can see Kirby coming off the edge, and you're going to get the shovel pass inside, so he thinks it's going to be a quarterback run. He's reading more zone read option. There lies Hicks on the inside for the big gain. Love those easy completions as a quarterback like that.
Passing yards, baby.
Yeah.
Horned Frogs looking for a knockout blow here.
This has been a team that's gotten off to a fast start in the beginning of games, coming out of half of games, coming out of the delays. They've gotten off to fast starts.
Hill outside to Hicks, trying to get around Tanking, unable to with help from Kirby, but there's a flag down.
It looks like it's going to be a face mask. Watch Tanking's left hand. See, the indicators obviously as the head is turned almost all the way around. Easy to see for the officials.
Face mask, number 58 of the defense. Penalty will be half the distance to the goal from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Here comes the Wildcat package. They haven't been denied yet. I mean, maybe on a couple plays during a series, but every time they've run this so far this year, Shewu Olanalu, he's got, what, 5 touchdowns running this exact package every single time.
He's giving you a hard time today, isn't he? You overthinking his name?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. It's not an easy one. Got one rushing touchdown today. Olanalu straight ahead, and he's got another. Touchdown TCU. Once again, they're able to pay it off with a Wildcat as the sophomore from Texas steps in, and TCU's opened this thing up.
And watch the hole. The right side, they pull number 70, Iwagwu, around. He kind of clears the way along with Garrett Altman. That's number 98. Typically he's number 63. Changes his jersey when he comes in as an eligible tight end on those Wildcat plays.
That extra point is no good. Song pulls it off of the upright. But TCU with its second touchdown today from Shewo Olanalua. The offensive coordinator, Sonny Cumbie, happy about his team, opening up a 3-score lead midway through the fourth. Kenny Hill and the Horned Frogs in front 26-6 midway through this fourth quarter. Joe Brady and Bruce in Manhattan. And it was Shewo Olanalua out of the Wildcat for his second rushing score of the day, giving TCU its largest lead of the day. Byron Pringle back to return this kick from Cole Bunce. Instead to be DJ Reed. To the 25-yard line. Not much room for error left. Down 3 scores, 8:36 to go. Well protected on first down, and he takes the open man. It's Isaiah Zuber, who breaks a couple of tackles and gets a first down. Roy Bethley back to make the tackle from his defensive line spot.
These are incredibly valuable reps because Alex Delton's going to be in a 2-minute mode, essentially, more of a hurry-up offense. And it's going to give him those opportunities to really get that live game experience that, depending on when Jesse Ertz comes back, he might not get again for the rest of the season at some point.
Start this drive from the 44 with a Delton pass play. Steps up in the pocket, keeps his eyes downfield, and throws incomplete. Broken up by Anthony Tejada. Intended receiver was Byron Pringle.
By number 11, Anthony Tejada.
Gotta love the fact that TCU has just kept their foot on the gas pedal, continue to keep bringing pressure. They brought their cornerback the last time, this last play, Jeff Gladney off the edge. And every play they're bringing someone different.
Now second and 10.
Still heating them up. Steps up and throws for Pringle and a first down inside the 40.
And again, there might not be much time left in this game. Kansas State isn't going to be able to win it. But this is good building for the future. I mean, if Jesse Ertz can't come back anytime soon, if Alex Delton is going to be the guy moving forward, these are valuable reps, valuable opportunities for him to be able to build that connection with Byron Pringle.
Encouraging day for Pringle. 3 catches for 80 yards for him. And Gary Patterson not calling the dogs off at all. Still bringing the heat. Ennis Gaines has had a nice day. Gets a sack here. Time for a game break. We check in with Greg Wolf.
Now second and 21 for Midview.
Wow, what a game there. Perfectly thrown for Zuber. I mean, Oklahoma obviously have taken the lead now, but Texas putting them on the ropes at a potential 2nd consecutive loss.
Texas has a good defense. I know the start of the year didn't go the way Longhorn fans had hoped, but they're starting to get it going now. Oklahoma obviously fighting to stay alive in the Big 12 and have an opportunity to maybe be one of those teams that if they can win the conference could be up for the college football playoff. By the way, that's 47 of the last 49 games that TCU has had a sack.
3rd down, 14. To the outside they go on the first catch for Zach Reuter today. Tackled by Nico Small. 4th down. This time they'll go for it on 4th down.
Don't worry, TCU's probably still bringing pressure here.
Yep. Stands in, throws high. and that will do it. TCU is going to move to 6-0, and it was more the same on that drive. Gary Patterson's defense. Well, we saw what they did last week against West Virginia, a team that was averaging 48 points per game, held them to 24, and they've put on a show again today, keeping Kansas State out of the end zone.
Just relentless. I mean, they don't take their foot off the gas. They bring pressure in a variety of ways. They go out and really take away the top two things you do best. Kind of just stepped on the throat of Kansas State here at the end of this game and really took over.
Really only one sure thing as far as a ranked team moving forward for Gary Patterson's squad in the regular season, Oklahoma. I mean, Texas, the way things are going there, perhaps they find a way to crack the top 25. Here's a run for Sean Robinson. And a gain of 5, but this sets up pretty favorably for TCU moving forward.
For the most part, with the exception of obviously November 11th and 18th, they've got to go back-to-back weeks on the road versus Oklahoma and Texas Tech, and that's going to be coming off of a tough game at home versus Texas. So it's not the easiest road. They've got a stretch of 3 games in there that really could tell what happens with TCU moving forward. But if they play the way they have, at least the last couple weeks, the games I've been a part of, I think they've got a great opportunity of winning the Big 12, or at least getting to the Big 12 championship game, at that point undefeated.
And there's another game on there that we should mention. You don't just walk into Ames and come away with a victory, especially not as a highly ranked team. Another run for Robinson, a short gain, and we check in with Bruce Feldman.
Joe, like a lot of coaches in sports, Gary Patterson has borrowed from the legendary John Wooden. Here it is his pyramid of success. And what he's really done is one step at a time. And what we're seeing here on the row labeled "Don't Back Down," that marks 5 Big 12 road games. They got a big one a few weeks back at Oklahoma State, another big one today. What's interesting about this one, this pyramid sits in the team room, and Gary Patterson had every player on the team sign it like it's a contract, and he's big on preaching accountability, and right now his team is really backing it up.
They will move to 6-0. Bruce and Brady in a season where not a lot of people were talking about them entering the year. They were unranked, but once again, a Gary Patterson team is bouncing back from a down year in a big way.
And a chance to maybe jump ahead again in the polls with Clemson losing on Friday night, #2 in the country. Do they sneak ahead of them? We'll have to wait and find out.
A little bit easier this time around for the Horned Frogs when they came up here 2 years ago. He had to have one of the biggest comebacks in his tenure as head coach. A lot of mutual respect between those two. Gary Patterson, Bill Snyder. That does it for us here in Manhattan.